Well, shaking, folks. Back with another reaction, back with some more classical music, and we're back with another symphonic tone poem from Ottorino Respighi, a composer from Italy. Though I did make the point that, he lived from the late 19th to the early 20th century, or the first, third of the 20th century. So he essentially lived during the period when what we now call the state of Italy transitioned from a group of city-states and regional sort of political entities into a more unified modern nation state in the sense in which we use that word now. So yeah, it's interesting. Again, we call him Italian, but it's sort of a complicated thing. Regardless, he composed 3 symphonic tone poems, all in 4 parts, that make reference to Rome, the eternal city, and in particular the Rome of the Roman Republic and the Roman Empire, the classical Rome, if you will. So yeah, I already reacted to The Pines of Rome, which is the middle one. I think, what year was it, 1924? Hold on, I have this out. Yes, 1924. Roman Festivals is the 3rd one. That was 1928. We'll come back for that one eventually. But yeah, we're going to listen to The Fountains of Rome, which is the first one he wrote in 1916. Again, it's in 4 parts. So yeah, while the sonics of this piece and its different movements might take my brain to some different sonic colored territories and suggest maybe visuals that are not related to the Eternal City, by and large, I imagine it will be very easy to imagine these large, grand fountains and the classical architecture of the Roman Republic and the rolling hills and so on, which is very much, I think, what Respighi would want the listener to be envisioning when he hears it. But yeah, bottom line, it is in 4 movements. I apologize, some of these videos when I have to say words in different languages, my pronunciation is often off point, so I do apologize. But the 4 movements are the Fountains of Valle Giulia at dawn, Valle Giulia at dawn, the Triton Fountain in the morning, the Trevi Fountain at midday, and then the Via Medici Fountain at sunset. So yeah, they're all in this sort of 3 to 5 minute range. So this will be about maybe, 16 minutes long. So let's get to it. As I said, this is The Fountains of Rome by Ottorino Respighi, a symphonic poem completed in 1916. And the first one we'll hear is The Fountain at Valle Giulia at dawn. High tension string already. I don't know if that's a triangle or a bell. Or those large chimes that hang vertically. Not sure. Woodwinds they're kind of moody, complex emotional tone. Oof, cold in the background. For dawn, it feels a little tension-filled. That oboe, I think, that feels very morning flowing fountain. Of the different layers, violin, woodwinds. Feels like this could be a missing planet from Holst's Planet Suite. Still the first fountain. I love this. It's warm and it's morning, but there's still a bit of like mystery to it. Uncertainty anyway, which I guess, you know, beginning of any day, you don't know what will then happen, so just on that basic interpretation, I think it works. And it is very warm and consonant in this section, more so than the first couple minutes. Okay, so we're about to transition into the second section, which is the Triton Fountain in the morning. So a little bit after dawn, but still pre-noon. That was sharp. There's some intense things happening at Roman fountains early in the morning. You can feel the splashing water, like you can feel it. That one violin carrying that very sprightly, maybe birds and other denizens of the Roman morning. The little chime, again, I don't know if it's a bell or a triangle, but it's sort of like a metronome, but a very slow, like glacial metronome. The grandeur. I was going to say the grand nature, but grandeur will suffice. Very indicative, or not, very well expressed in that last section. constant, like, tight tension string. Oof. Okay. Different mood rolling in. And that makes sense because we are now on to the third fountain, which is the Trevi fountain at midday. Big bright sun at midday. The most amount of people out and about, perhaps. The grand proceedings of the Roman, let's say, republic more than empire. It feels almost like Wagner in this section. The full expression of life and energy. And I didn't remember when I went into this that it's done by like the progression of a day, basically, at different fountain locations. I like that. Also feels like this could be like a John Williams score in a film, which I say like as a compliment in both directions. Pomp and circumstance of the Roman Empire. And Elgar's like, bro, copyright. Into, the afternoon now, sort of. That was like a little touch that I'm not sure the source of, or if that was like a recording error. It sounded weird for like 2 seconds. And I just forgot. I didn't mention the conductor or the orchestra. I'll wait till after, but my bad. Okay, so we're about to go into the last one, which is the Villa Medici fountain at sunset. So we're moving into sunset through the afternoon. And here we are. Shift in mood, certainly. Sort of, the sky's getting more orange, shadows getting longer, cooling down. Good string writing for me is, it's like a cheat code. It just makes me instantly a fan of whatever's happening. And good playing, of course. You can write it on the page, but someone has to play it. Ugh. sometimes the distinction between those two is a little unclear to me, because the oboe can go high, like. Birds of evening getting their turn at a different fountain. Very light and sprightly still, despite the kind of moody nature of the strings in the back. That one violin, man. That's like Tchaikovsky demanding. That it? Nope. So like 2 minutes to go. Can feel like night falling. The moon and maybe the, still sort of blue but dark blue, the early night sky. Some of the brighter stars becoming visible. Different kind of uncertainty, but at night, things look different. It's not as familiar. Seconds. Oh, that bell. It finishes with that. Or not. Tonally, this is very different from the Pines of Rome, yeah. Which, of course, it's a different symphonic tone poem, but it is the bell. I heard it. Yeah, it's great. I really enjoyed that, and I didn't remember, as I said, going into it, that it had that sort of theme around the dawn, morning, midday, and evening, or the sunset. But I felt that, which again, like not knowing the specific sort of appearance or environs of the 4 fountains in question, which, I wonder, now that I say that, if they're only historical, if they were just, attested to in ancient Rome, but now because of, all the passage of time and the change of the city and so on, whether those fountains still exist in any meaningful sense, perhaps as, like a historical, now like sort of tourist attraction perhaps, but ultimately, yeah, without knowing what they look like, to me it became more about the different tonal palettes and how they represented the passage of a day in ancient Rome, whether it be the Republic or the Empire. Again, I choose to see it more a little bit earlier as part of the Republic. And even then, of course, many of you will know Republic is a word that perhaps should be used with like an asterisk, same way with like Athenian democracy, right? It's like, yeah, democracy, but like half the population was unfree. So it's like a weird thing to talk about democracy, regardless of those like political layers. I would say, like I said, the passage of the day was very well represented in the different motifs and themes as it went through the 4 parts. So once again, shout out to Ottorino Respighi. Do let me know what you think of this. As I mentioned before, I was remiss at the beginning. I should have mentioned that this is conducted by Enrique Bátiz, and I've since learned, since doing the Pines of Rome, he's a Mexican conductor, but he did, I don't know if it was a residency or he was like a guest conductor of the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra in London. So yeah, this was during the period, it was the early 90s. This was recorded in the middle of April on the 15th and 16th in 1991. And yeah, I had since learned that he was a Mexican composer who did some, residencies or guest conductor tenures in different places. And in the early 90s, he was a guest conductor for the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. So yeah, let me know what you think of this performance. If some of you classical people out there have heard a different performance, different orchestra, different conductor that you prefer, do let me know. I think this is a very fantastic performance, and I mentioned before the Naxos CDs from which this comes. They're sort of like a very economical classical music label, releases a lot of CDs that when I was buying them back in the day, now this was like 20 years ago now, maybe even like a little bit, like 22 years, like 2000, 2001. I was getting these for like $4.99. There's another label, Amadeus. Their CDs were like $2.99. So I have a huge classical music CD collection, and part of it is because of labels like Naxos and Amadeus. I do also have Deutsche Grammophon and a number of labels like Decca that are perhaps more like well-renowned internationally and therefore a bit more expensive. But yeah, bottom line, shout out to Naxos, shout out to Enrique Bátiz and the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. Let me know what you think of this piece, and we will come back, as I said, for the Roman Festivals, 1928, the final of these 3 symphonic tone poems in 4 parts. So yeah, look forward to that. Let me know what you think of this, and I will see you next time. Peace.